Hello YouTubes. So just following up from the success of a previous video we did, I'm going to make a new improved recipe for jelly sweet, like Haribo kind of sweets. We're going to be using these primary ingredients, so you need a pan, measuring jug for water, 2 little ramekins or bowls or something, a tray and a mould for your jelly, that's what I'll be using, and some hot water and a stove. And we'll also need a scale to weigh things. So we're going to need 100 grams of just regular table sugar. To the 100 grams of sugar, we add 1.5 grams of agar. This is basically a vegan gelatin made from seaweed. It sets firmer and is more temperature stable, so it doesn't melt and sets a lot quicker. So it works a lot better when you're out and about on a run. It doesn't get all gooey and melty in your bag. That'll do, close enough. And then to the pan as well, we also add salt. So I'm going to add 3 grams of regular table salt. There we go. And then also reduced sodium salt. So 2 grams of this. There we go. And that helps with your electrolytes. Stick that on the stove. Don't turn the stove on yet though. Next thing to do is we need to weigh out 10 grams of corn flour. This is going to help thicken the sweets and also make the texture a bit more gummy. To that we add 10 grams of cold water. There we go. And get that all mixed up. Into there, we're going to make an orange sweet today, so we use an orange extract, a little blob of that, not a lot, to make it look like orange. Add some red food colouring, a little splatter, and a little bit of yellow. Mix that together. Next we need to weigh out 1.5 grams of citric acid. This gives a nice tangy flavour, so it's not just pure sweetness. And finally, we need 90 grams or 90 millilitres of hot water. Next, we throw the 90 ml of hot water into the sugar with the agar and the salt. Turn the stove on medium, get the sugar to dissolve and the agar to dissolve, and then we're pretty much done with that part. While the sugar's dissolving and the water's coming to a boil, we're going to sort out our jelly moulds. So I'm using a cake tin, you can use whatever you want. I'm going to line it with cling film. There we go, that's ready. And now we're just waiting for the agar and the sugar to dissolve completely. It does need a good 5 minutes at the boiling point to dissolve. And once you're happy with your mixture, it's all dissolved, turn the stove off and you should see your mixture's completely clear. And once you're happy it's all dissolved, just turn the stove down to the lowest setting, and then it's time for the food colouring, flavouring and corn flour, which will thicken it up nicely. Don't worry, it goes green. It will turn back again in a minute. Now you just need to bring it back to the boil again very briefly. You want to be stirring the whole time with the corn flour in though. And then we can turn the stove off. Then we just need to let this cool down for a minute because heat and citric acid stops it setting. And now the mixtures start to cool down. You'll start feeling it slightly thicken up as it's beginning to set in the pan. Give it a quick stir and get it straight into the mould. Then once you've got it in your mould, transfer it to the fridge. We need to leave it in there about 2 hours. Next, we get the jelly out the fridge. This jelly needs to dry once it's sliced into whatever shapes you want. If you've used a jelly mould or like jelly bear, gummy bear moulds, you then need to tip it all out and let it dry. So the way I do this is to get it onto parchment paper, onto a metal tray and put it into like an airing cupboard for a few days. As you can see at the moment, it is pretty sticky, but once it's dried out and then we've dusted it with some icing sugar, it won't be sticky anymore. And there we go. Like I said, they'll probably take about 2 or 3 days. The tackiness will just go. And then the final step, take them off the greaseproof paper and throw them into a little tub of icing sugar and they're good to go. Obviously this batch has been 100 grams of sugar, so that should be about 1 hour of very intense workout for someone or 2 hours of moderate intensity.